Our area's most beautiful properties deserve the finest realtors. Meeks Realty Group. We focus on buying and selling residential and commercial properties throughout the tri-state area. Contact Meeks Realty Group online at meeks.us or call 304-440-1101.
The views and opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of 580 WCHS, its employees, or WVRC Media. From the studios of WVRC Media, the country, the United States of America, the state, West Virginia, the city, Charleston. This is the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live. And your host.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
He's kind of a big deal.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Dave Allen.
Hey, folks, good Monday morning to you. Welcome to the show. Ryan Nicholson is our producer today. Bigly, Piggly, Wiggly, hotline 304-345-5858. Fruit Pharmacy text 304-935-5008. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live comes to you from the Par-Mar Store studio. If there's not a Par-Mar store near you now, there will be soon. Par-Mar welcomes everyone into town for the 2024 State Boys Basketball Tournament. It begins tomorrow at the Coliseum and Convention Center. Par-Mar, of course, the official store of high school sports in West Virginia and of Marshall University. And Par-Mar, the location that just off the St. Albans exit of I-64 that have been closed for repairs is scheduled to open this Friday. Again, if there's not a Par-Mar store near you now, there will be soon. Have a Dave Allen Show on 580 Live brought to you by Thornhill Auto Group, including Thornhill GM Superstore, in the market for a powerful, luxurious, and innovative truck. Come check out the 2024 Chevy Silverado 1500 Crew Cab LTZ and High Country today. Find new roads to Thornhill GM Superstore. Click or come by thornhillgmsuperstore.com or on the road to total savings at Thornhill Motor Mile US 119 in Chapmanville. Hope everybody had a great weekend, and remember to set your clocks ahead Saturday night or Sunday morning, just after 9 o'clock here on the East Coast, and not just after 8. I hope you didn't fall for the memes floating around social media last week asking you to go back in time to set your clocks back. That actually was not the case. It's for spring forward is the whole thing, way it works. All right, so coming up a little bit later on the show, we wrapped up the legislative session at midnight on Saturday night. Tony Hodge, who's the vice chair of the state Republican Party, will be here, along with, actually separate from, State Democratic Party Chair Mike Pushkin. They're both going to be stopping by a little bit later on. Plus, as I mentioned, tomorrow the State Boys Basketball Tournament tips off at the Coliseum and Convention Center, and we're going to get into that with Fred Persinger coming up in just a matter of moments. I want to bring in Jeff Jenkins, though, from the newsroom. Jeff, good morning.
Hey, Dave.
Bizarre story. Actually, a couple of them. You have posted at WVMetroNews.com. State police have now charged a guy from Cross Lanes with murder, burglary, and animal cruelty in a crime scene from 2 counties. What's the story here, Jeff?
Okay, so a man identified as Billy Cato. He's 44 from Cross Lanes, and state police allege that 2 different places, at a residence in Cross Lanes and then at a residence in the Poca area, they allege at the Cross Lanes residence he killed a man. This is on Saturday. Troopers discovered the body of 53-year-old Michael Oles of Cross Lanes, and that was on Walnut Valley Drive, a house there. Troopers had actually gone first to the residence in Poca on a burglary call, and they found evidence of a burglary and also 2 cats dead. And then as they were investigating that, they heard of similar circumstances, perhaps at this Cross Lanes location. So they went there, found 2 dogs had been killed, and also Mr. Oles also was dead. So they've charged Cato with both of those crime scenes. At first, they didn't charge him with the murder. They named him as a suspect in it, and then by last night, they had charged him with the murder. So it's the murder, the burglary, the animal cruelty charges.
But, I mean, I know it's early on in the investigation. Has anybody say anything as to why?
Yeah, we don't have the details. Some of that'll come out, sure. Obviously. If you take a close look at the criminal complaint, you might have some of that in there if there's a preliminary hearing. Don't know a whole lot about motive or anything like that, or what the allegations are. But they made a pretty quick arrest of Cato, had him in custody. So no bond on the murder charge, but there is some bond on the others. But the murder charge will take precedent there, and there won't be any bond set.
All right, again, you can read more about it at WVMetroNews.com. And this other story, it happened, I guess, Thursday. There was a truck wreck.
Yeah.
And they're still looking for the driver of the truck.
Yeah, so they identified. So late Friday, Kanawha County Sheriff's deputies identified the driver of this truck. And this truck wrecked on Thursday out in the Frame area on Hurricane Road, which I didn't know there was quite honestly, a Hurricane Road in Frame, but there is. And it's a narrow road, and he wrecked. It was more like a residential lumber type truck. It wasn't a log truck, it was a lumber truck. And he wrecked it over an embankment, and at first deputies thought that maybe he got, and this happens, got messed up on his GPS, got off on a road he shouldn't have gotten off on.
Happens all the time.
And he wrecked the truck over the embankment, and they thought, never found the driver, and they thought maybe he's underneath the cab. And so when they lifted the cab, wasn't underneath there. Then they found out that this man, who they've now identified, who's from out of state, had called some relatives outside the state and said, I'm here. He kind of described Spencer Road in Cotton, West Virginia, okay. So deputies think maybe he was confused about where he was. Maybe he's injured, but they still haven't found him. So I'm not sure exactly.
Yeah, and so, I mean, he could be wandering around out there with like a head injury or something, or that's what they're thinking at this point?
I think that's a possibility. Right. It seems like a long time now, but we've got his photo and different things that they've released on the website.
All right, Jeff. Appreciate it as always, man.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
All right.
Jeff Jenkins from the newsroom. It's 9:13. In the heart of West Virginia, there exists a profound force that goes beyond the realm of sports, transcending limitations, and fostering a sense of belonging. Talking about Special Olympics. It's a remarkable initiative showcased in the latest episode of West Virginia Enriched in collaboration with Huntington, and it stands as a testament to the power of determination, unity, and unwavering support. See a video highlighting the Special Olympics at facebook.com/580 WCHS. Now, the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is brought to you in part by General Hardware of Winfield and Milton and General Lumber of Winfield. Whether you're getting your home ready for a warm weather project, whatever you're doing, they can help. Locally owned and operated General Hardware and General Lumber. Visit generalhardwarewv.com. Want to welcome in Fred Persinger. Fred, good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm well. How are you, David?
I am doing well, man. The girls' state basketball tournament now behind us. Congratulations to all 4 state champions from Saturday. Now we turn our attention, Fred, to the boys' state tournament. Gets underway tomorrow at the Coliseum and Convention Center. So, overall, let's talk about the girls' tournament. Let's start there.
Okay.
Exciting tournament. It
was a good tournament. We had really 4 nice championship games. You know, anytime you have – what do we have? 28 games.
Carry the 3, double not.
You have 28 games in a week, you're going to have some that go, oh. But overall, I thought we had some really, really good games last week at the girls' tournament. And as you said, congratulations to the champions in single A. It was Cameron. They've won 3 in a row now. Chances are winning 4. It's going to be tough. They lose Ashley on Van Tassel, by the way.
And she, man, I saw her at the Parmar shootout. Man, she's something else.
She's something special. She's going to Youngstown State, by the way.
Yeah.
Class AA state champion was Wyoming East as they defeated Williamstown 46-42, the last game on Saturday night. And then in AAA, it was the Nitro Wildcats getting by Lewis County. And in Quad A, Morgantown was defeated by Wheeling Park. And Wheeling Park avenged that loss they suffered at the hands of Morgantown last year.
Yeah, it was a great tournament. Again, we're talking with Fred Persinger, the voice of high school sports in West Virginia. Let's fast forward. Let's go to the boys now. Talk about the top seeds. And as always, I like to ask you some teams that you think could make some noise or maybe a sleeper team.
Okay, let's start with Quad A. And Quad A gets underway. Their first game is 11:15 tomorrow morning, but your top seed is Spring Mills, and the Cardinals are very good. They lost 1 game, very first game of the season, and since then they've been winning.
And it wasn't to an out-of-state opponent, was it?
No, they lost to an in-state opponent.
Oh, did they?
lost to Washington, in fact,
okay.
over in the Eastern Panhandle. But solid solid basketball team.
Volleyball, whatever
Wrong
it is.
team.
Yeah.
Solid basketball team. Again, they're number 1 in the state, and they beat Morgantown. They beat all the tough teams. I don't know if they'll win their first game, to be honest with you.
Really?
They play the 8th seed, and that's Beckley. And Flying Eagles are playing as good a basketball as any team in the state. They beat George Washington just last Thursday night for the regional championship, and They've got everyone healthy now, so they're playing well. I think that will be a good game. That comes up at 7:15 on Tuesday night. The other seeds, you got Jefferson, South Charleston game, Huntington, Spring Valley, Morgantown, Wheeling Park. You get to state tournament day, you think, okay, we're going to get different opponents, right? No, Morgantown, Wheeling Park, they're meeting for like the 147th time or something this week. Huntington, Spring Valley, that was just the game in the sectional championship that Spring Valley upset Huntington. So they'll get a rematch of that one. Then you look in Class AAA. I don't think there's a secret that everyone's expecting another rematch in the championship game between the 1 seed Fairmont Senior and the 2 seed Shady Spring. You got a lot of other good teams in there that I think could have something to say about. The Logan Wildcats are there. East Fairmont is there. Nitro is there. Nitro, we talked with head coach at Nitro on Sunday in Parkersburg. Said, well, you've got a little thing to live up to. You girls just won a state championship. Now you've got to win the state championship. He gets Sissonville in a game that they're very familiar with. Shady Spring and North Marion, and that's the lineup for the AAA teams. I don't know. I still think Fairmont Senior and Shady are probably the 2 teams you're going to have to look for there. Class AA, which actually gets underway all 4 quarterfinal round games on Thursday of this week, and Bluefield is certainly the number 1 seed and the most athletic team, maybe the most athletic team in the entire state tournament. But the Bluefield Beavers are number 1. They'll get Braxton County. Wheeling Central Catholic will get Williamstown. Chapmanville against Ravenswood. And Charleston Catholic will get Trinity Christian. So that will be the lineup for the Class AA teams. And in Class Single A, they'll wrap it up. Their quarterfinal round games are all on Wednesday. Number 1, Tucker County. Mountain Lions are very strong this year. They get Huntington St. Joe back into the tournament. Webster County is back again. They get James Monroe, East Hardy, and Cameron. East Hardy gets the first game on Wednesday morning. You got to leave what? Tuesday night?
Yeah.
Get to Charleston?
They left on Sunday.
They did. I think you're right. And then Tug Valley will play Doddridge County, and Rabbit was there.
Everybody knows Rabbit.
Everybody knows old Garland Thompson. Yeah, but it's. I'll tell you what. For me, I think the thing on Sunday that we do and get the meeting. We meet with all the coaches on Sunday and get our tape and all of that.
Yeah.
That's more interesting to me because it's just great relationships I've developed over the years with a lot of these coaches, and you only get to see them this time of the year.
Right.
It's fun.
And,
it's fun.
And I'll tell you, Fred, I was thinking about this last night. There is nothing like this 2 weeks in Charleston.
I agree.
I mean, going back to my high school days in the 1800s, and just thinking about, because when the tournaments happen, spring is coming.
Right.
But just everybody coming in, everybody with their school colors, and I happened to be in the town center on Friday, early Friday afternoon. You just see people walking through with the colors and the T-shirts and the hoodies and the caps. Man, I love it. Now, again, daytime games primarily on Charleston's ESPN Radio 106.7 FM, 1490 AM. The evening sessions on the WCHS network. Of course, you can listen to all the games at WVMetroNews.com and watch the championships on the Metro News TV channel. By the way, if you've not downloaded the Metro News TV app,
great.
Make sure.
Yeah, it really is great. And you were talking about people, and Saturday morning, the first game was the championship that featured the Nitro Wildcats and Lewis County. And Lewis County and Nitro both had a tremendous fan following. Lewis County, I think, had everyone there. In fact, I talked for a while about halftime with the deputy sheriff from Lewis County. And I said, wow, I said, what a tremendous crowd. He said, I said, it'd be a great time to go to Weston or somewhere. And he said, I did leave one deputy back there. And I said, only one? He said, well, yeah, everyone else is here. So the deputy's guarding the deputy, I guess. I don't know. But it was a heck of a crowd, and it was just that's the setting you like.
Exactly.
And we expect some of that this week. You get typical crowds like Beckley, like Clogan, all of these teams that are going to have a fan following. They'll be there.
Yeah.
And the kids will be there, especially if they have a day game.
Yeah.
Because you get out of school.
Yeah, absolutely. And you got a special preview show coming up tonight, right?
We do. From 7 until 9, it's the Road to the State Tournament. It'll be hosted by Joe Bricado and Greg Carey tonight. And it was fun last week doing the show for the girls, and now Joe and Greg take over for me and Joe.
Yeah,
Joe
and a great lineup of talent doing the games. I understand my old boss, your friend, and mine, Speedy Bevins, is back this year.
He's back for the second year in a row. We had Speedy with us forever, and then he got away from it. He got into different things, but I brought him back last year because He's good. He knows what he's talking about, and I've sent the information packets on to him, and he's appreciative, and I guarantee he's ready.
Oh, I talk to him every morning. I talked to him this morning, and he was telling me all about the different teams. I'm like, just save it for the broadcast, man. Save it for the broadcast.
That's speedy, though.
Yeah. All right, Fred, we'll be listening and watching. Thanks a lot, man.
Yes, sir.
Fred Persinger, the voice of high school sports in West Virginia. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, presented in part by Pinnacle Consultants. Whether you're replacing a roof, remodeling a kitchen, or replacing a bathroom, to keep it safe, keep it legal, get with Pinnacle Consultants. They can inspect your site, collect samples, perform lab analysis, and provide results within about a week. Testing all renovations for mold, asbestos, and lead is the law in West Virginia. Visit pinnaclecorp.net for Pinnacle Consultants, because what you don't know can hurt you. Bigley, Piggly, Wiggly, hotline 304-345-5858. Fruit Pharmacy text 304-935-5008. Mike Pushkin, State Democratic Party Chair and Delegate, on the way next. Back after this from the Parmar Store Studio in the voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Are you a physical therapy assistant and looking for an opportunity in orthopedics, wellness, and athletic care? If so, Generations Physical Therapy is offering flexible work hours and an upbeat atmosphere. With 7 convenient locations, Generations may have a job designed for you. Visit generationspt.com.
Hi, I'm David McCormick, owner of Omega Commercial Interiors. We'd like to thank you, West Virginia, for making us the #1 office furniture and commercial interiors company in West Virginia. Remember, when you're looking for quality office furniture and space planning for healthcare, corporate offices, or even a private office, call us and buy local. Omega Commercial Interiors. We're a proud West Virginia company. Visit us online at omegacommercialinteriors.com in Morgantown and Charleston.
For too long, liberal activist judges have been in power. All while we're losing jobs, criminals go free, and the drug problem gets worse. It's time for a fresh face in the courthouse.
I'm Ashley Deem, a lifelong Republican running in the nonpartisan race for Kanawha County Circuit Judge. Born and raised in Kanawha County, I understand the challenges our families face.
Ashley Deem is a conservative who will be tough on crime and apply the law fairly. Vote for Ashley Deem for Circuit Judge. Paid for by the committee to elect Ashley Deem for judge.
We are professional grade. Are you looking for a new truck or SUV that can handle any terrain or challenge? Then you need to visit Thornhill GM Superstore on the Thornhill Motor Mile. Right now, you can get a $6,000 purchase allowance when you trade an eligible vehicle on the new GMC Sierra 1500. Or shop Thornhill's great selection of GMC terrain. You can enjoy 1.9% APR for well-qualified buyers on the small SUV that offers GMC Pro Safety Plus. Plus, you'll get a $500 purchase allowance and no payments for 90 days. Click or come by ThornhillGMSuperstore.com or on the Thornhill Motor Mile, US 119, Chapmanville. So 5 Financial, see Thornhill for all details.
924. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you by Meeks Realty Group, is a locally owned real estate powerhouse. They specialize in residential and commercial properties. No property too big or too small for Meeks. With their team of the finest realtors in the business, Meeks Realty Group, your trusted partner in finding your dream home or dream commercial investment. Call them today, 304-440-1101, or visit meeks.us. Ryan Nicholson is our producer today. State Democratic Party Chair and Delegate Mike Pushkin is here. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing fine, man. You know, before we get into the session, I haven't had a chance to bring this up to you, but a couple of months ago, it was announced that former Massey CEO Don Blankenship will be running for U.S. Senate in a field that includes, among others, on the Republican side, Governor Jim Justice, Congressman Alex Mooney. I say that because Don Blankenship is running as a Democrat. I feel confident that the Democratic ship, Michael, which you pilot, will be firmly behind Don Blankenship.
Well, you would be wrong. We put out a statement on it. He's not fooling anybody.
Immediately,
we put out a statement that he is not our guy, and he doesn't represent any of the values of the West Virginia Democratic Party. And we're going to have a primary, and he ain't going to be it.
I'm kidding, of course. I have to give credit to UMWA President Cecil Roberts. The Wall Street Journal did an article last week about Blankenship's run for Senate as a Democrat. You were featured in that article as well. You were quoted in that article. Huh. Cecil Roberts said, quote, "If Don Blankenship is a Democrat, then I'm Batman." That was actually pretty funny, Cecil. I have to give Cecil credit for that.
That's pretty good.
All right. So the session wrapped up at midnight. I'm just going to pretty much wind you up and let you go. Anything positive for you? I mean, the state workers are going to get a pay raise, and gradually the taxes are going to go away gradually on Social Security.
Social Security, which we shouldn't be double taxing people on their Social Security benefits anyway. But yeah, that's something that It was a bipartisan bill, something that really the Democrats have pushed for years, and luckily we were able to get that done, and the state worker pay raise, including teachers and state troopers. We were able to get that done at the last minute, and the reason it took till the last minute because those bills were some that the Senate were holding hostage over their unemployment bill, and that's why there wasn't a real appetite for the unemployment cuts in the House, but the Republicans in the House were forced to run it because the Senate was holding up the pay raises and the elimination of the income tax on Social Security. I think that obviously we were all in favor of these raises. They have to at least be able to offset these premium increases to PEIA, which of course the Democrats did not support last session, but we have to at least make up for that. Now, the unemployment bill, I thought it's unnecessary at this time. The unemployment fund is solvent. It's the wrong thing to do when you're hearing
That's what Caputo said.
When you're hearing about layoffs and plants closing in the northern Panhandle and at Allegheny Wood Products, you're hearing more about these layoffs and plant closures, and then to add insult to injury, the Republican supermajority wants to push through this last-minute unemployment cut. Now, it changed. The versions of it changed so many different times it was hard to follow because they were just trying to push through something. But I think what you're going to wind up with is something that could harm us in the future. Because while I said the unemployment fund is solvent right now, this locked it in and doesn't take in any kind of leeway for inflation, and it could harm the fund, which is doing fine now. It could harm it in the future, and that's the real problem with that bill.
And I look back at the session, and some of the bills, Mike, that got the most noise aren't going to see the light of day. And just a couple off the top of my head: the Women's Bill of Rights, as it was named.
I called it the Women's Bill of Wrongs.
The library obscenity bill, the Crown Act, student discipline bill, teachers with guns, baby Olivia, mugshots, left lane driving, travel ball, gender affirming care. They
wasted a lot of time. The old saying is, when it's all said and done, a whole lot more gets said than ever gets done. And the problem with that is they wasted a lot of time deliberating over these meaningless culture war bills that do nothing but harm people, really. And what they're using them for is election fodder, something to distract people in an election year and get them, in my opinion, to vote against their own best interest. But those bills didn't pass due to some of the hard work of some of my colleagues up there. And also they weren't good bills. That's why they didn't pass. But the problem is they took all the oxygen out of the room, and we should have been focusing on things that we needed to do. West Virginia has a whole host of issues that needed our attention, and they didn't.
Give me an example of some of those that
child care, access to child care. I was just talking about the unemployment bill. Of course, we all want people to get back to work. Well, one of the things holding people up is the lack of access to reliable child care. People have to have some place to take their kids so they can go back to work. But when companies are thinking about locating here, that's one of the main things they ask about access to child care. And we have child care agencies closing up left and right, first of all, because of the system that state uses for their reimbursement rates. It's based on attendance rather than enrollment. So it needs to be based on enrollment. So if it's based on attendance, sometimes toddlers get sick. Sometimes their parents take them on vacation. They're not the most reliable people, those toddlers. So it should be based. True. It should be. Anyone who has one should know that it should be based on enrollment, not attendance. But of course, that bill has a price tag, and it didn't pass. The other one, there was a child care tax credit. Of course, that bill has a price tag. And I said it so much during the session, I kind of get sick of hearing it, but it's true that some people know the cost of everything but the value of nothing. But this is something that we should have prioritized, and it has a price tag, but we should have found a way to get it done. It's necessary to get people back to work, and it's a real crisis in this state, the lack of child care. And the governor talked about it in the State of the State address, and they weren't able to get it done. The Speaker of the House said we were going to get it done this year, and they never got it done. You know what else they didn't get done that we heard a lot about?
What's that?
And we'll be hearing more about it in the fall.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't do anything to address the transfer portal in high school sports. I mean, how much did you hear about that?
On this show almost daily, especially when it first came out.
And going into the session, they said that we're going to fix it. And the governor said they were going to fix it. And guess what? They didn't even attempt to fix it.
And there was a couple in the travel ball bill, which was not quite as big a deal.
That would have made it worse.
People,
that would have made it worse. Yeah, that bill didn't go anywhere. And because it's a bad idea. We should be more concerned about the academics with the students than allowing them to play on two different teams at once and not having enough time to study. That was a bad bill, but we should have taken the time to come up with a good compromise on the transfer portal. So when people start seeing these lopsided scores against this fall, if nobody but the Republican supermajority and the Republican governor to blame it on.
29 minutes away from 10, Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you in part by Hudson's Pizza. Get an 18-inch pepperoni pizza and a pizza bowl, only $22.99. Find your nearest Hudson's at Hudson'sPizza.com for delivery, pickup, or for dine-in. Got a text. I actually have a couple of texts here for you, Mike. One says, I have a question for Mr. Pushkin. May be able to answer this. Why not use rainy day funds to make up clawback if needed? Now, explain this whole clawback thing.
Okay. All right. During some of the COVID money towards education, the federal money came with the requirement that states maintain a certain percentage, a certain level based on a percentage of the state budget on education. Now, what threw that off was some really bad math on the part of some folks at the governor's office and this illusion of flat budgets. So they try to pass a quote-unquote flat budget every year before the session is over based on estimates. It's not based on real numbers, and then they backfill it afterwards to make up for some of the miscalculations. That throws off the percentage of what we spend on education. So it's not necessarily about drastic cuts. It's just it throws off the percentage, and that caused us to drop below that level where we didn't keep up our end of the deal for that federal money, and now we're possibly looking at paying back nearly $500 million to the federal government. It was a big mistake on the part of the governor's office. They'll try, as they always do, they'll try to blame somebody else, but they have nobody but themselves to blame over there. Now, I don't know about using the rainy day fund for that. I think that what we should do is raise those levels back up, do what we're supposed to do, and hopefully we won't have to. Hopefully the taxpayers won't be on the hook for that.
Text says they cut the IDD waiver Medicaid line item by $11 million, where there is a direct care crisis.
Yeah, and I stood up and said something about that when we got this last-minute budget amendment, when it had less than a half hour to prepare for debating the budget, which is the most important thing that the legislature does. Yeah, and there were drastic cuts to the IDD waiver program and the other waiver programs as well. And there was a recommendation. There was a study done and a recommendation that we received right before session that said we needed to raise it. We needed to raise the rates for these personal care workers to go into homes and help people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. We're at a crisis level right now, and instead of doing what we were supposed to do and raise it, they cut it. That mainly came from the Senate Finance Committee and your friend here, Chairman Tarr. And that's where those cuts came from. And I think they're drastic cuts. It's a tragedy, and I hope people are really paying attention. But we've got to get that money restored and actually put more money towards it, not take money away from it.
Somebody texted as a follow-up to that said 31% underfunded.
Yeah,
that's what the text is.
Years ago we heard about waiting lists and these families that were on a waiting list. Well, it doesn't matter whether they're on or off once they get off the waiting list, if there's nobody there working in that field to go in and help them take care of their loved ones who have intellectual and developmental disabilities, it's not going to matter whether there's a waiting list or not. You have to be able to attract people to that field. It's just like anything else. You get what you pay for. And if we're unable to pay these folks what they deserve to do this type of work, we're not going to find people in that field. So there's a severe shortage of staffing in that area, as there are in other areas as well.
We got a text said, did state workers get a raise too? They did.
They did last month. That was one of the bills that was held up in the Senate for quite some time, the state workers' pay raise. But I think it's just going to be barely enough to offset their PEIA increases.
All right, text says, Dave, can you ask Delegate Pushkin how the state Democratic Party could better appeal to those West Virginia Republicans, some of which are running for office that are... Yeah, I'm sorry. No, I'm not reading that. Sorry. I don't read stuff like that. Sorry. I started to read it, but I'm not.
Well, I'll have to check it out on the break. I'm curious. What they said.
It's about, you lose me when you start name calling. That's the thing. And it was asking you how the state Democratic Party could better appeal to West Virginia Republicans who have alternative lifestyles.
Oh. Well, we should be open. We're open for everybody. We've always been the big tent party. The Democratic Party has always been the party for everybody else. Unfortunately, in recent years, the Republicans have done a good job of branding us as something that we're not, as us being too extreme. But if you pay attention to what goes on at the legislature, there are, fortunately, far too few of us over there, but we are the adults in the room. And this year, in spite of our small numbers up there, we are incredibly effective. And if you look at what didn't pass, that can attest to the fact of just how effective we were.
Texas, a political party that forces women to give birth, then abandons the child and woman once the child is born? ? What is the Republican Party, Dave?
Well, that's a good question. They're definitely not the party that my grandfather was a proud member of. It used to be about small government. Now they've become about bigger and bigger government, wanting to. This session was about power grabs and just inserting themselves in people's lives where they shouldn't be.
I don't think that either party is what our grandparents were, Republican or Democrat. I'll be honest with you. I mean, that's just me. That's my opinion. I don't think that as you talk to you, and you and I have talked about this before about other people writing your stories for you. I think that what is seen as the Democratic Party on a national level is not the party of John Kennedy. And I also think that the Republican Party, Ronald Reagan would not be welcome.
I think you're right about the latter part of that
It's become
statement.
the party of Trump, which
but I know
sad.
that the party that I belong to, the Democratic Party, still stands what we always stood for, and it's protecting Social Securities, protecting people's Medicaid and Medicare. We just think people should be able to see a doctor if, God forbid, they get sick. We've always been the party about supporting public education so everybody has access to a good education. We've always been the party for everybody else. We have been painted with to be something that we're not, and I said they've done a good job of it, but we're not extremists, and we're not what they make us out to be. We're the same. We stood not just what Kennedy stood for, what FDR stood for.
Text says Republicans not keeping at their end of the deal and then blaming others for their actions. That's definitely on brand, says a text. Text says they didn't have to pass the budget last minute. That's the one bill that didn't have to be passed before midnight.
That's the problem they've had for these. They like doing this. It's something the Republican supermajority likes to do, is pass the budget before the session is over, when actually we can add on an extra day or two and actually take some time and really look at what's in the budget. You can't really know what's in a budget in less than a half hour when you get an amendment dropped on you. Okay, we're going to take up this massive document with the state budget in it, and to try to find out what was funded enough, what was severely cut, like those waiver programs that are going to hurt a lot of people. And then we also had this uncertainty looming over our head because of the threat of this federal clawback due to really bad math on the part of the governor and his office.
Before we let you go, I want to ask you, you mentioned the governor. Governor didn't spend a whole lot of time around the session.
None.
Especially
I'm glad you brought that up.
I'll call it as it is. That's a fact.
It is a fact. Not there at all. And so the governor generally has an agenda, but if you're not there to push your agenda, then it gets messed up. And that's what so many things didn't happen. The governor mentioned in the State of the State. I mentioned one earlier was the high school sports transfer portal, child care. We didn't do nearly enough to address the foster care crisis in this state, and the governor was not there. I just want people to know that this guy's running for U.S. Senate. If you want if you want to go just have every state gets 2 U.S. senators.
Mm-hmm.
If you think West Virginia should just have 1, then that's your guy, because he's not going to be there.
All right.
The junior, the next, he'll be the junior senator that's never there. He will never be there. And if he can't make it to Charleston, he's definitely not going to be in Washington, D.C. doing his job. We need a senator that's going to show up and do the job.
All right, we got to leave it there. Mike, I appreciate, as always, you being here. We're going to take a break. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is brought to you by Bridge Valley. Are you interested in improving your company's IT workforce? Well, did you know Bridge Valley offers custom-tailored IT training to bridge the skills gap? At Bridge Valley, you can train for little or no cost with a 50-50 salary match. Bridge Valley can also supply skilled graduates and apprenticeships for your company. Visit bridgevalley.edu/apprenticeships today. Back after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses care for your family.
Thrive with 5 at the best community bank in the Kanawha Valley, Poca Valley Bank. Poca Valley Bank is now offering a certificate of deposit special, 10-month APY, annual percentage yield 5%. Take advantage of this great rate to grow your savings. For more information, stop by a Poca Valley Bank location today or call 844-782-2651. Poca Valley Bank, where relationships matter. Certain terms and conditions apply. Rates based on minimum annual percentage yield. Subject to change without notice. Minimum deposit required of $10,000 of new money not currently on deposit with Poca Valley Bank to receive APY. Member FDIC.
Owning a home comes with responsibilities. The Kanawha County Sheriff's Office wants to remind you of a very important date. As of April 1st, unpaid 2023 taxes are considered delinquent. If you haven't paid your taxes by now, you have until May 1st to avoid publication. Remember, after April 1st, you cannot pay the half-year fee. You must pay the full year amount. Again, May 1st is the deadline to avoid publication. Visit kanawsheriff.us to learn more about paying your 2023 taxes.
Are missing teeth affecting your confidence and quality of life? Dental implants may be the right option for you. Let Garib Dental Group, with their skilled team of doctors at 6 locations, be your trusted source for dental implants. With dental implants from Garib Dental Group, you can eat, speak, and laugh with confidence. Dental implants can change someone's life for the better. Visit GaribDentalGroup.com to find out more and take the first steps towards a healthier, happier smile. And at Garib Dental Group, like always, we love to see your smile.
Unsure you're ready for retirement? That's understandable. After all, you only retire once. Make the smart choice and call 4th Avenue Financial. If it deals with retirement planning, you can be confident they have the experience you need. Retire right with 4th Avenue Financial. Go to 4thavenuefinancial.com or call 304-746-7977 to book your free introductory meeting today.
Securities offered through JW Cole Financial Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services offered through JW Cole Advisors Incorporated, JW Cole Financial, JW Cole Advisors, and 4th Avenue Financial are unaffiliated entities.
You want to know the way to enjoy your favorite Metro News programs like Talk Line, Sports Line, 3 Guys Before the Game, and more? Now, instead of just listening, you can watch the Voice of West Virginia. Check out the new WV Metro News TV app. Simply download it to your favorite device. Apple TV, iOS, Android, Roku, Amazon, and more. Simply download the Metro News TV app to enjoy all your favorite Metro News personalities from Caridi to Kercheval and more. It's Metro News for your ears and now your eyes, too. Download the free Metro News TV app at WVMetroNews.com. And the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live brought to you in part by Live Healthy West Virginia, presented by WVU Medicine. Live Healthy West Virginia tackles pressing health issues like heart disease, diabetes, and more. It's a podcast offering insights into medical breakthroughs and preventative care, featuring WVU Medicine's expert physicians aimed at fostering healthier lifestyles in and beyond the state. It's a valuable resource for all. Discover the latest episodes at WVMetroNews.com. Texas political parties went full corrupt when Citizens United became law. Foreign and unregulated money flows and corrupts, but those who benefit won't get it because they are rich. Text says, my grandfather's party this, my grandfather's party that. My grandfather thought it was socially acceptable to say the N-word. Neither of these parties are theirs. Hoppy's back in Morgantown for Talk Line, 10:06 this morning. Brad will be along with the Legislative Review. Senate Education Committee Chair Amy Grady's on the show. Gayleen Miller from AARP. House Speaker Henshaw. Delegate John Williams and more. Talk Line from Morgantown from the Encova Studios coming up at 10:06. Let's welcome into the show State Republican Party Representative. I never know what your title is. Tony Hodge, how are you, man?
Good morning. I'm a little tired. Trying to catch up over the weekend. We spent all day Saturday at the legislature. We stayed till sine die. Got home late. Got up, had church, to do and all that. Came home, tried to take a nap, had a short nap, and then had some things to do yesterday evening. So I am. Truthfully, I'm honestly exhausted.
So you and Pushkin were hanging out there in the green room, man, making nice with each other. That's awesome.
Well, we're both talking about how tired we were.
It's the only thing you have in common is that you're both tired.
Yeah, well, we have more than that. I mean, look, we're friends, but
you both have a love of fudge.
Yes.
Because you brought him some fudge last time,
Yes,
right?
I was too tired to make it this morning. I actually considered it, but I thought, no way, man, I can't get into that. So.
I just wish sometimes that people, I mean, I got a picture out there in the hall for the ages with Tar and Pushkin a couple of months ago. And it's like, I just wish people could see sometimes that people do talk and carry on conversations and talk about weather and sports and things of that, normal stuff. They're not always at each other's throats. All right, so let's get specific. Overall, and we'll get into the particulars later. overall, your opinion of the session, Tony?
Well, it's half and half. I mean, something even for myself personally, but a lot of people that I've talked to, there were some things that were really, really good, and other things that we wish we could have got done. And so I can't come in here and say, oh, it was 100% grand, but I can't say it was 100% terrible either.
Mm-hmm.
And that's politics. That's just politics. I mean, there's give and take. There's there's a lot of legislators who are disappointed that their bills didn't get through, and there's some legislators that are very excited that their bills got through, and that's just the way it is. But I want to tell you one thing. The Democrats, they will come in here and they will talk about all the grand ideas, and we ought to fund this and we ought to fund that, and we need to do this and we need to do that. That's easy to do. Anybody can come in here and do that. I could sit right here and name off, tons of things that I think that we ought to do. But on the flip side of that, in West Virginia, we are constitutionally required to have a balanced budget. We're not like the feds where we can just go out and print money and do whatever we want. We have to balance a budget. What does that mean? We have to be responsible with the state spending. And since the Republicans came into legislative power in 2014, and now we have our Republican governor, we have shown that fiscal responsibility. It's very, very important. And yes, there are programs that we want funded. We funded some programs this year. The foster care bill is one that I want to talk about in a little bit. But there's other things that, we have to look at and say, we have to balance a budget. It's our job. And there's some legislators who, they think that's the only job of the legislature, balance a budget and go home. I'm not quite that far. There are things that government can do. Generally, I'm a small government. That's my philosophy. And this year, it's certainly a small government type year. We have that flatline budget, and we also cut taxes. Not only did we not give a tax increase to our residents, but we cut taxes for our seniors. Our seniors are what built this state that we live in now, and they're retired now, and they should enjoy their retirement. And, Joe Biden and the Democrats, they go on TV, the State of the Union, and they try to tell the American people and West Virginians that we're going to take their Social Security away. Nothing could be further from the truth. In West Virginia, not only are they going to keep their Social Security, but we're cutting the taxes on their Social Security so they can have more comfortability in their retirement and not have to worry so much about their income. So, look, we didn't get everything we wanted, but there are some really good things that we did get. And, the legislature meets every year, and we'll come back and we'll try for some other things.
Give me an example of something that were swing and a miss moments, Tony. Something that either as a party or maybe you in particular. Give me a couple of examples of things that you are disappointed that didn't get done.
Well, I really like to focus on the things that we did get done.
Okay,
but no, since you asked, I think a lot of the things that didn't get done are more along the social issues. I do consider myself a social conservative now. And now here I'm speaking right now on behalf of Tony. Because our Republican Party, you have your chamber Republicans, you have your social Republicans, you have your small government, your fiscal. There's all sorts of we're more really, I think, of a big tent party, and we have a lot of independent-minded people in our party, where the other side, I think, is much more groupthink. But so I mean, there was some social issues that we lost. The Baby Olivia bill was something that I thought was really important. That would show videos to our, I think it was 8th graders or 9th graders, 8th graders about human conception. I thought that was really important. The library obscenity bill, in my opinion, that was an important bill. Some Republicans seem to be split on that one. Concealed carry for teachers. I am all about protecting children. Anything we can do to protect our school children, I'm very much in favor of. So that was a little bit of a disappointment. And then the Women's Bill of Rights, I thought...
Pushkin called it the Bill of Wrongs.
Well, and that's his opinion. Some people have a problem with the title of the bill, if the title of the bill corresponds to what's in the bill. But the fact of the matter is that what it would do is, it's a pro-science bill. I'm very much pro-science, and it defines what a man is and what a woman is as defined by science, and that's very important. Some of the social issues that we did get through, though, speaking on that subject, was the birth certificates. That you can't have non-binary on a birth certificate. It has to be male or female, which of course that's seems to be favored by most. Some people who have concerns about the vaccinations. There was a vaccination bill that went through that some on the Republican side didn't like, but a lot of the people out here in the state did, and that would relax vaccination requirements on virtual schools and private schools. So there's some people who like that. And then there was protection for belief-based student organizations in schools. Just add some protections on that. So those are some social issues that we won. So you see, there's a little bit that we won and a little bit that we lost. So that's just politics.
Text says, Dave, same question to Tony Hodge. Please address West Virginia Republicans who live alternative lifestyles while pushing anti-LGBT. I always get the letters mixed up. LGBTQ legislation makes it difficult to judge candidates if they're not even honest with themselves or party.
Well, I think the Republican Party stands for traditional family values. We stand for the nuclear family. And, while we do welcome people of all stripes in, we're not going to agree on every single issue. I think it was Ronald Reagan that said, if we can agree on 80%, then we're good. The other 20%, we can work on. So, look, I have differences of opinion with that lifestyle, but at the same time, we work with people like that. I have personal friends who live that lifestyle, and it's just a difference of opinion. We're not gonna completely sever our ways because of things like that. So we'll work with anybody, but we will stay focused on our platform and what it says.
8 minutes away from 10, the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you part by Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Back after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses have been creating jobs in West Virginia since 1997.
Now there will be soon. You hear us say that a lot, but it's true. Wherever you may go, chances are you'll find a Par-Mar store there, offering everything you need to get you in and then back on the road as soon as possible. From gas to groceries and snacks and items for your house, we have it at Par-Mar stores. Download the app and sign up for the Par-Mar Rewards Card too. West Virginia, Kentucky, Ohio, Maryland, Pennsylvania, and Virginia. If there's not a Par-Mar store near you now, there will be soon.
Career politicians in Charleston and Washington are taxing our families too much. Let's vote for a Republican that will fight for us. Republican Dwayne Duncan, running for Kanawha County Commission, wants to cut taxes for all our families. Dwayne Duncan wants more jobs, lower taxes, and safer communities. Dwayne Duncan is a job creator and believes you should keep more of your hard-earned money. Let's vote for lower taxes and more jobs. Let's vote for Republican Dwayne Duncan for Kanawha County Commission.
Paid for by Dwayne Duncan for County Commission. Tori DeCubo, Treasurer.
The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, presented in part by Brightway Insurance, a Mays agency of Tays Valley, locally owned and operated by an Air Force veteran and former teacher. When it comes to insurance, they have everything you've been looking for. Brightway offers expertise from real local agents, not a 1-800 number. Call them locally. John or Sherry Mays today, 304-814-2509. We got Tony Hodge from the State Republican Party here. Texas. Dave, ask Tony who he endorses for governor and senator. Thanks.
Well, look,
you're not in the business of endorsing that at this point. I mean, I wouldn't think, right? Because of your ties to the State Republican Party. You can't do that, right?
Well, we certainly will endorse right after the May primary. But up until then, we can endorse. But I'll tell you, we have great candidates in both of those races, and whoever wins, we will wholeheartedly get behind.
2 questions, says the texter. Why do Republicans think life starts at conception but won't let a pregnant woman claim the so-called child as a dependent? What do Republicans have against same-sex marriage couples getting the same tax regulations as opposite-sex marriage couples, Tony?
Well, on the conception part, yes, life begins at conception, and I would absolutely favor that person growing in the womb to be considered a dependent. That's actually a really good idea. We should do something about that.
Phone calls to the show, a service of Biggly Piggly Wiggly, and our texting services are provided by Fruth Pharmacy, your hometown family pharmacy. All right, so talk about intelligent design. That was something that went by the wayside that you, I know, and your son, who's been on this show, kind of pushed. He's a high school student, very politically involved, and he was very into this. It didn't pass.
No, it did pass.
It did pass. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, it did pass. So my son, his name's Hayden Hodge. He's a junior at Hurricane High School. And very quickly, the way this bill came about was it came about through a classroom discussion where my son was asking about the origin of the first cell, the origin of the very first life, abiogenesis, and the origin of the universe. And, we have the Big Bang in these types of theories, and the Big Bang is fine. We're fine with the Big Bang. We know the universe was, there was a Big Bang. We just want to know who banged it. And that was where the conversation started in the classroom, and the teacher was a little bit uncomfortable with wanting to answer fully on that. So, Hayden thought, wow, why would a teacher be uncomfortable? So he wrote a bill himself. He wrote it. And what it does is it gives teachers protections to be able to talk about different scientific theories in the classrooms without fear of, getting in trouble with the law or anything like that. So teachers can now if this is signed by the governor, which we think it will be, of course, teachers will be able to freely talk about scientific theories in the classroom on life's origins. Darwinian evolution, it talks about the origin of species, but it doesn't really talk about abiogenesis. That's the very first life. How did something from non-life turn into life for the very first time, and why can we not repeat it? And then we all know with the universe and the Big Bang and all that, we all know that from nothing, nothing comes. Anything that begins to exist has a cause. We know this from the principle of uniformity in science. These are scientific discussions that need to be had in the classroom. We don't need to tell our students what to think. We need to teach them how to think, and then they should be able to make up their own minds. So we're really, really glad. And let me tell you this, final passage on that bill, Senate Bill 280, was enjoyed bipartisan support in the House and bipartisan support in the Senate. So it's a very popular bill. People love it. There was a lot of discussion on it, a lot of talk on the floor about it, and a lot of the legislators said that it was the easiest vote they've cast all session.
Texas Dave, more social issues didn't deal with the Public Service Commission that's robbing families and no end in sight, doesn't care for kids. Just look at vaccinations bill. 90% of the nation says we should vaccinate our children.
Well, my children are vaccinated. I'm vaccinated. There's some people out here who have problems with that, some people who don't. That's why we have to find that middle ground to be able to please different sides. One other thing I want to say real quick, because I know we're getting short on time, and I think the guy before me talked about this, but the 5% pay increase.
He has a name.
Yeah, Mike.
Pushkin.
Mike, I know. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to get everything in because I know we're running short on time.
Go ahead.
But no, the 5% pay increase. Look, we're passing balanced budgets. Let me reiterate that. We're cutting taxes and we're giving pay raises to our teachers, who we adore, our state troopers, our public employees. This is actually incredible. So there's a lot of complaints on the budget, but if you look at what we're doing and the responsibility measures that we're taking and what we're doing, it's really incredible. And look, let me just say, we've been in power in the legislature for 10 years. We've got a lot of really, 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 really big things done. A lot of big things over the last 10 years. After 10 years, once you've done all the big things, when you have a legislative session like this year where we didn't get a whole lot done, we got some stuff done. Some people look at that and say, well, this was lackluster. This wasn't good. We didn't do this. We didn't do that. We've done a lot. It's a 10-year record. This is one session out of 10 years. I'm like, come on, give us a break. They're doing really good. I'm actually very proud of our Republican legislators. Some of them, we have disagreements, but we work through those behind the scenes, and they're doing a really good job.
All right, so let me close with this. Now that the session is behind us, they'll be, of course, back in May. Let's talk quickly about campaigns. So you're out there, you're beating the bush, and it's going to be a very crowded field for some of these primary races. Give me 20 seconds on that.
It is a very crowded field. We're going to we're just encouraging our candidates. I'll tell you, anybody who wants to run for public office, think about it. You need to put your name in there. We need really good people. We've got really good people on the ballot right now. Also, pay attention to your circuit court races, your judges. You need to search out the conservative candidates for your judges. They're nonpartisan. If you need help with that, call the Republican Party. We're going to help with endorsements of conservative judges. It's very important.
Got to leave it there. Tony Hodge, I appreciate you being here. Hoppy's coming up at 10:06 with Talkline. I will see you tomorrow. Till then, have fun and love somebody.
WCHS AM, W243 DRFM Charleston, and W283AQ Cross Lanes, a WVRC media station. We're proud to live here too.